Good afternoon. This is the regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the El Paso Area Transportation Services LGC. And we do have a quorum at 1:31. And the meeting is in session.
If we can do the pledge of allegiance, others please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So yeah, first, our next item, and item 3 is public comments. Do not have anyone who has signed up for public comments. Can open it up for right now. But I don't believe we have any, so if it's okay, we can go ahead and move on to agenda item 4. But I do believe that you would like to move an agenda item up. Is that correct?
Yes, it was B5F 6A. 6A. I'm sorry, 6A. We can do the consent. Yeah.
Consent first, okay.
6A.
We'll do the consent agenda first.
Yeah. Why don't we take the consent agenda?
Yes, sir. So item 4 is the consent agenda for the minutes. To approve the minutes from November 20th, as well as the financial report.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. We have a first from Mr. Londeros and second from Scadio. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry, sir.
Now we're moving item 6A, executive session.
Yes, sir. 6A is pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074 to discuss the recruitment of the EPAD's Transit Director of Operations.
Is there a motion to go to executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Yes, we have a first from Mr. Londeros and second from Ms. Betty. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries, and we will go into executive session at 1:34.
Stand by, please.
Yes, I got it.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
He'll start the meeting.
I'm just gonna, let me get on roll.
On you.
Don't even. No. Let me try again. There you go, right where we go. Do you see? Oh, I'm waiting.
No. Maybe on the morning.
Yeah. Yep, pretty sure I did.
We're up.
Okay, all right, I'm sorry about that.
Motion to come out of executive session.
Motion to come out of, is there a motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
A second?
Good. So we have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion will carry, Mr. Rubio.
So we're out of executive session at 2:52.
Yes, sir.
And Chair, there was no action on item 6A.
No action, all discussion is.
On 7G. 7G. Yeah.
That's right. So now you can start with the regular agenda.
Okay, so then we'll go ahead back to onto agenda item 5A. This is to receive a report from the interim director of transit services regarding this month's operational, financial, and other relevant activities. Mr. Panelas?
Yes, good afternoon. In the board packet materials that we distributed, you have the report dated weekly activities to December the 6th, and one for the current period to December the 20th. I'll be sending it out via email on Friday. In this report, I highlighted a lot of the activities that are dealing with promoting the ETA within the community with various entities that make up the LGC. And if there's any questions or any comments regarding that, I'd be more than happy to discuss it. In the meantime, I can share that one of the things that I've been doing is to make the presentations to the various entities, along with Annette, who also participates in the presentations. If you look at the agenda, we visited all but Clean so far, and we'll be doing Clean hopefully in January. But you can also see that the town of Horizon City and the city of San Elizario, they've approved the interlocal agreement that was submitted to them. The other three entities, we're looking forward to having that done in January. So we're available, I'm available to go and meet on the day of the city council when that item comes up, hopefully in January, so that we can put it behind us. And be there in case there's any questions or any discussions that are going to happen. So we continue to make those presentations because it's important for the LGC to continue to show itself within the community. I also made presentations to the Horizon, Horizon San Elizario and Camino Real Regional Mobility Authority also. be making the presentation to the El Paso MPO in January. That was going to be done in this month, but it was pushed back into January because of scheduling. And then also the Council of Governments, we talked about doing a presentation also at the Council of Governments. So as you can see, we'll be touching with most all of the entities that have publicly elected officials, their policymakers, West Texas Regional Planning Coordination Committee as well. So these presentations, again, are designed to share information about the ETA. And besides the PowerPoint presentation, we now have these flyers that we developed. We mailed out about 150 of them to the member entities. We did a very short run because in January, we knew we were going to be having a different chairperson. So in the back, we listed up for the current board, and it included Commissioner Leon. But to do just a very quick one, we only did about 150 to 200 copies. It's in English and in Spanish. And so as soon as we have this information, we'll run a large number of flyers and distribute them throughout. We'll use this also when we make presentations within the community. Example, a good key example is the Agency on Aging. They have their Aging to Perfection, where they have several thousand individuals that attend. We'll look forward to having one of our 88 vehicles there. It's a very nice exhibit, and also distribute these there. Plus also, if there are any fairs or community events that you'll have, certainly just letting us know and we can make a supply of them available. As soon as we get that information, like I said, as the chairperson, we can run the number of copies that we need and we'll distribute a number of them. I know that Terry is Eddie.
Terry.
Teddy.
November.
I know that when I was visiting with his mayor, one of the first questions that he asked for was, do you have a flyer that we can get to our city council people? And of course, we didn't at that point in time. It was about a month ago. But since then, we produced these, and this is now out there. This is also a sample of the card that was distributed to several of the nonprofit organizations. The major number of distribution of these cards went to actually within the county, because the county of El Paso has a senior centers. And so I contacted the program person with the county and made arrangements so that these were made available within their senior centers. And then she volunteered that they could also include one of these in some of the 100 meals that are distributed within the county. And so this is just part of the promotion of, for example, with Prop 84 and then with Socorro. Of course, Barracuda will have a little bit more update to you as to where we are with marketing and promoting the fact that Prop 84 is continue, and also about the activities that they're doing with the website and other marketing promotional activities. So the generic flyer will be distributed throughout. Also, the one of the things that I'm working on is to develop an outline for the orientation for the new director for ETA, because it doesn't matter how many years of experience somebody brings to the table, knowing and understanding the inner workings of our entity and the history of our entity is important. So I've working on developing that, as well as an annual report. In 2024, we'll be doing an annual report for 2024. The bylaws actually calls for an annual report to be prepared and presented to the member entities. And so that's one of the things that I'll be working on this next month and a half. And it'll be distributed again to the member entities, and that'll also be something that will be kept for historical purposes, so that we can have a track record and a history of the development of ETA. Paratransit services continue. We have now 4 months from the time that we started paratransit services. We're at 40 to 50-ish persons that have been transported. Big Rock continues to operate pretty much as it has. And the general public demand response program, this is the next phase of the study that was done, of the proposal that was presented to the county, that was done in 2018, 2019, that called for the establishment of an entity like this, as well as expanding paratransit services in the county, and also looking at general public demand response, which is carrying the transportation capabilities further than just fixed route, paratransit, and now with general public demand response. We'll be going through this study within this year, within 2025, with TTI taking the lead. TTI, of course, is the Texas Transportation Institute. They're the contractor that we, the county, ETA contracts with, to facilitate the process and to guide us as we look to implement that program. So if there's any questions on anything that we're doing, I'm more than happy to respond to that. At the early part of January, I'll update the chart that I shared with you about a month ago that had the list of the funded programs, where we are, the percentage of completion. In some instances, those change a little bit. In some instances, they don't change because there's not a lot of activity there. We're waiting on other things. And so consequently, we'll be bringing you up to date as to how we're doing with the $18 million worth of grants that ETA is operating right now.
Mr. Mayales, did you mention the website going up?
Yes, yeah. Well, I'll let the Barracuda present that since they're coordinating that.
Oh, that's D. Is that D? Sorry, I made skip it. Okay. It's a cool website.
That's all.
If I may add, Mr. Mayales, we do have 17 eligible riders now for paratransit. It grew since last month. The report was 9. So, I mean, I think we're seeing our numbers grow. Our daily trips are averaging about 40 to 45 a day. I think that's so,
Are they coming from a certain area?
so right now they're in our service area. So I think they're the county's residents for now.
But I mean, are they west side?
So right now they have some that are coming from the south region, so of the east they're coming to Anthony. So one of the biggest riders that they have now is actually around Socorro area, so in the side area, it's just going to Anthony.
And again, the 17 go individual.
The dollar bill.
They have transportation.
That's good. Yeah, that's great.
So
The 17 individual can translate to 50 trips because some of them are use system 3 times a month. So we
So
need to look at the individual plus the number of riders.
as we transition from 84 to modified 40/50, did Sun Metro provide us like the riders even qualified? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we've been working with the county staff on that. So I'm not sure if anyone's contacted you that was interested in that.
not on my own.
Because I almost think
There's
there's
a poly contact. Sorry. The poly contact for transit or operator
right.
to take care of that. Yes.
Yeah, I mean they're almost like pre-qualified. I mean,
Yeah.
if Sun Metro's already qualifying them, it's almost just like a ministerial review, if anything, to qualify them.
One of those we'll allow you to have the information from some metro to us.
So I think what we discussed as staff is that they were given a call, contacted and said, if you want to allow your information to be released, we'll share it with the county. And that way it expedites it. If you don't allow us to share it, you're going to have to reapply with the county service. So I don't know what happened on the back end, but.
Nice.
And I think is there a mechanism for us just to avoid service disruption? If someone, calls and says, hey, I was Route 84, do we at least have like a roster of people from Route 84?
We were going to get that roster through our reviewers, right? So we're not seeing that documentation.
Yeah.
But our operator, I believe your operator.
Apparently it was a HIPAA question that we couldn't share our customer information directly with the county unless the customer waived that. So
Even just name?
Well, it doesn't, you have to have a name and something else.
No. And this is why I'm asking, right? So like, let's say that there's a person who calls January 2 and says,
I think it's because they're understood to have like a status of
Right, yeah,
so even if you give the name now, you're saying.
that's right. That's what I was thinking. But I guess what I'm wondering operationally on our end is if someone calls on January 2nd and says, hey, I can't ride Lyft anymore. I was a qualified rider under Lyft. What will we do to expedite and provide service to them until we're able to get it?
I think that's built in by the CFR where you give them 21 days of service.
Pending confirmation of eligibility.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's built into the ADA.
Yeah.
Because they're by ADA standards, they're considered a visitor under that status if they don't have that evidence right there. So that's when you say, give us your documentation. And at that point, they could choose to release it from Sun Metro and we could share it.
Okay.
So they feel it's as easy as they wanted it to be as well, right? So they want us just to call, hey, get the information from some metro. It's
Well, I'm wondering if it's worth having our staff our drivers and like our drivers or TransDev staff have some sort of release form just to say, hey, fill this out so that we can get your information from Sun Metro to facilitate and streamline that for us. Because that burden is, I think, on us, not on Sun Metro. Right. So if there's something we can do to help them tell Sun Metro we want to waive the information, if it's as simple as like a little card like this that has a check yes to do this and it's in English and Spanish, then you send that out and then we can mail those over to Sun Metro or provide them to Sun Metro, and then that will be enough for Sun Metro. We'll have to work with you to make sure that Sun Metro is okay with
But as you
receiving.
said, we're kind of working till Friday and then things shut down. And by the time January 2nd rolls around.
No, and I'm talking about like for this transition period. Yeah, like I think immediately the short term is get on the bus and we'll help you. But like, you know, maybe once we come back from the new year, let's see what that looks like.
Well, and Carl, if you recall, when we first dealt with that issue early on, and you would know more about, you know, how feasible this is, but I guess when both operations get going, potentially a joint form would work. Like, you know, the writer is applying to both services in one form, and therefore whatever information is gathered is going to both entities.
Well, I think that was more relevant when we were deciding how we were going to transport people.
Yeah.
And since now we've defined it to where which transit agent's taking who, there's really no need over it anymore.
Okay.
Except on this initial transition.
Okay.
So this will take us to 5B. This is an update on the status of the local agreements between the El Paso Transportation Services Local Government Corporation and the member entities for FY25, and the contribution amounts are included. Mr. Bañuelos briefly went over this item. Is there anything else you'd like to add to this?
No, unless there's any question about the other three entities and getting the dates when city council is meeting, it'll be on the agenda then. Like I said, I'll be there for those meetings.
We had meeting with the county auditors again. I think it was a good meeting. That's like, yeah, it's never. I think, you know, this kind of bleeds into C, but I think what we've discussed is the county still being the recipient, still providing matching funds. We're almost in a position where procedurally it makes more sense for the contribution amount to not be a contribution amount, more so be like or it not be a contribution agreement that's on the front end, but more so be like a reconciliation agreement that is toward the end of the fiscal year. And so I think that's something that as we consider bylaw amendments, it might be something that we make a recommendation, because what we're trying to avoid is the county providing all this cash to the LGC and then the LGC having to return all that cash back to the county. Because I think right now our estimate, or the county's contribution, is over 800,000. But when we look at all the cash that we do have identified that would, I think we're looking at really only having to reconcile about 150,000. Because otherwise the county could give the LGC the money, but then the LGC would have to use that to match all the grants. And so we could do that. But then that's just transferring money more than we need to, right? Because then you're going to have to return that money back to the county at the end of the year. So instead of doing that, have the county account for its expenditures that count toward that match, and then we'll just reconcile at the end of the year. But that's a more pertinent use of the resources as opposed to cutting a check from the front end. And the county's situation is unique because we still are receiving the grant funds directly from TechStop or from the MPO. Right?
That
So,
guidance comes from the auditor's office, right?
yeah,
So that's the county would make its contribution at the end of the year, not at the beginning.
right. But it would still be accounted for.
Yeah.
It's just that it would be so like when we develop the budget, we'll know that that's there, but we'll make that like after the third quarter or something like that. Yeah, because otherwise we'll have to be paid back all the money that we gave. So it just makes sense.
And I think that we'll have to, so that agreement will be prepared later.
Right.
So there's not one right now prepared for the county. I'll just.
So as we consider the amendments to the bylaws, which I know is the next item, keep jumping ahead. That might be another one for us to consider, is that calling out that the counties agreement with the LGC is just a little different because of this, but also because of, well, this goes something being germane to this. So I don't know, maybe I'll save my comments until we get to 5C in the agenda.
Before we go to the next item,
Yes, sir.
is there a motion to move item 5F to the front, right?
Yeah, to the next
item.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
So there's no action on 5B. Okay,
I'll second that motion.
so we have a motion. Who made the motion?
I did.
Mr. Landeros to move 5F. So we have a first and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion will carry to move to 5F.
Sorry.
I'll get there.
All right, so 5F is to discuss and take appropriate action regarding contracted legal services for the El Paso Area Transportation Services LGC, including evaluating the existing agreement with Kim Smith and the proposal made by the El Paso County Attorney's Office. In your packet, you do have the proposal from the County Attorney's Office for your review. And then we do have Erica Rosales from County Attorney's Office. I'm not going to say your other last name.
That's okay. I care about the bit too. It's very long.
Mr. Chair or Vice Chair, so the county asked for this item to be placed on the agenda. This is something that Commissioner Leon and I discussed last month. As we've seen by moving the staff out of the Planning and Development Department into a standalone department, the board has more direct oversight, and well, I think not more. I think the board now has full direct oversight, both administratively and operationally, over the staff, and I think we're looking to expand that by creating the director position. Part of and I think we're evaluating what our needs are going to be, looking at the model that's in place with other organizations, with kind of sub-organizations in the county. There's still a heavy reliance on the county attorney's office to provide a lot of legal review for grant agreements and documents and things of that nature. And so it's because of this that Commissioner Leon and I discussed the possibility of, we'll discuss placing this item on the agenda. We did provide notice to Mr. Estrada this would be on the agenda. It wasn't like, you didn't blindside him. But the idea is, given the unique nature and blend of responsibilities for review and legal oversight that we continue to have, there seems to be a lot of value in identifying some of that synergy within the county attorney's office and resuming the county attorney's office providing legal services back to ETA. I think some of the concerns that I think that we've had at the county when presenting items like this before have always been preserving the board's or assuring the board that there will be autonomy and that the county is not exerting more control or oversight over ETA than any other agency, perhaps with the exception of quorum, which I was just reminded today, right, which is coming up. But beyond that, the county attorney's office is unique in that the county attorney is independently elected by the voters of El Paso. It's not as though it's an agency that's or it's an office that is beholden to the political will of the commissioner's court. In fact, in years past, long ago, during the times of the corruption, you had a very aggressive county attorney, Jose Rodriguez, who was very active in trying to keep the commissioner's court out of a lot of the issues that were coming up. And that's just the way county government is structured in Texas. You have a lot of decentralization to avoid centralization of power. And in this instance, we feel like the county attorney's office would be able to provide independent representation to the board. It's a relationship that they have. It's a type of relationship they've managed successfully before by being able to provide legal representation to the El Paso County Hospital District and to Emergence Health Network as well. And in times when they've negotiated against the county, when EHN, for example, has had to have a contract against the county, even though they're two county attorneys working on it, there's adequate controls in place for them to be able to effectively provide representation to both sides. And so the request here from the county is that the board consider the board consider authorizing us to provide notice formally to Kemp Smith that would be winding down their agreement, and then to provide notice to the county attorney's office that we'd be engaging them in this service, then work on reviewing the agreement, signing off on everything. There would definitely need to be an overlap and transition between both law offices to ensure that items that are underway, for me, including the possible any possible contracting that we do for employment, that be handled by Kemp Smith, who's been involved in that process and get us across the finish line. But then just closing out other administrative matters to successfully stand up the transition between two different law offices. And so Miss Erica Rosales Gaglione with the County Attorney's Office, she's the Senior Division Chief. She's part of County Attorney Christina Sanchez's leadership team. And she would be the lawyer in the office who would be overseeing the staff that would be assigned to ETA. She's here and available to answer any questions that you all may have. And then, Mr. Estrada, I know that you had sent back a response to our email that we sent over this month. And so I wanted to make sure that you also had the opportunity to address the board.
Sure, thank you. So I hate the, that's what I said. In truth, first of all, let me tell you, it's been a pleasure to serve as your legal counsel. And it's been a lot of fun working with an entity that is, working on becoming what it's aspiring to be and isn't quite there. Because I advise other governmental entities, but all of those assignments, are entities that have been around for many years, and it's just coming in and making sure that things continue to move the way they've been moving for a while and progressing. But EPATS has been fun and scary because we're doing almost everything for the first time, right? And that's exciting. But when Mr. Landeros and the commissioner reached out to me about this, they were very respectful. They assured me that it wasn't that you guys hated me or anything like that, but gave me the reasoning for their discussions and this motion. And I have to tell you that I agree with the reasoning provided. There have been many times, and I'm serious about that, many times when I'm dealing with legal issues for EPATS, but in truth, it's really a legal issue that involves the county either almost entirely or significantly. So, and sometimes it's kind of hard because, as the attorney for EPATS and only EPATS, it would be good for me to know how the county is addressing certain issues. And not knowing that has kind of sometimes made it hard for me as your legal counsel, because I don't act as legal counsel for the county, just for EPATS. And if the county attorney's office resumes, providing legal services to this entity, there's going to be, you're going to have attorneys. One, I think very highly of the county attorney's office, by the way, I know they're attorneys, but then you're going to have attorneys that know how everything's playing out. And for as long as this entity is heavily dependent on the grants and the funding that comes through the county, you need it's beneficial to you all to have attorneys that know how that's all working, how that's being applied, so that when the pass-through happens to this entity, it's smooth and it's compliant for all parties. So one, it's been a pleasure working for you all, but I agree with the reasoning for why the county attorneys can and should resume legal services.
Any questions for Mr. Gaglione, for the board members? Familiar face, the ETA's first council as we were establishing our bylaws and everything else.
So the board started with your legal counsel to begin with, right?
That's right. So I helped Mr. Landeros, as we mentioned, draft the bylaws, and I was part of the search for a very qualified lawyer, Mr. Estrada, back then. And back then it was our recommendation. We wanted there to be separation. We thought it was the best idea to have a separate legal counsel. So yeah, I was the original for a few meetings. You would have seen me, and then Mr. Estrada started shortly after that.
So now it's come full circle.
Yeah, and I understand Mr. Estrada what he's saying. It's true. I mean, it's true that our lawyers work on quite a few matters that impact ETA, and so yes.
So this is awkward, but I think this is awkward to ask you, Mr. Estrada, but it's I think here what we're looking for is a motion to direct staff to begin developing a transition plan, or perhaps it's just direction.
You know, let's make it a motion.
Okay.
A motion to approve transitioning legal services from Camp Smith to the county attorney's office. Okay, and it would be a motion to, and I think, would you like to chime in on that one?
Oh, I do know there is a draft legal services contract that I'm sure you would be reviewing. So I know there's this draft, but that's the only other thing.
Yes. Okay. So, you know, I would say, as you mentioned, there's going to be a bit of an overlap. So I think the motion today should be to approve the transition of the legal services.
Okay.
And then as part of that transition, and then for the next meeting, we can come back with an approval of this contract and any and other matters that would need the board's approval. Okay. But by you all approving the transition, you're making it clear that we're moving in that direction. Yes, sir. And then once the transition is underway, the county attorney's office will advise you all, hey, it's really not that complicated on how to formally terminate the contract with Camp Smith, but they'll be doing that part of it. Okay.
So I would make that motion.
Okay. Give us
Is there a second?
Second, just Mr. DeVay, we have the first and the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Verify that. So we'll go ahead then and back to 5C. And this is to review and discuss proposed additions and revisions to the LGC bylaws. Mr. Baños is going to present this item, and I'll pull up the chart that he provided to you all. You all are just seeing that now. It wasn't for your packet. It was sent to you electronically. So, Mr. Baños, would you like to?
Sure. And this is not to take action today. It's simply to present this to you. Within a month, say at the January meeting, it can come back for action unless the board wants to approve only certain changes and others maybe not address it in January, but maybe in February. Bylaws should be living, breathing documents that, evolve. And so a number of these proposed changes are simply bringing us up to consistency. I know that we had a discussion earlier about who makes up the members, and the question about the that's right. Came up, and so there's language in here which could be changed. Depends on the actual wording that we want to do. But I just wanted to go ahead and give this information to you between now and then. If you have any questions or any suggestions, certainly by email they can be sent. We can incorporate them and then present back to you in January the language that we amend bylaws to. And again, if some items are not ready to be approved in January, they can be approved in February. There's no magic number as to which month to approve. But it's just something that brings a little bit of consistency to our bylaws.
It's true for me. Thank you, Mr. Baños, for this. As we're reviewing these, more germane, my comments earlier are more germane. I think I think another amendment is looking at the contribution agreement section and delineating the county agreement being inherently different than those of the other member agencies and changing the timeline and kind of the requirements for that. But I think it's conditional upon the county still being the recipient of the funding for the rural transit district. I know that Ms. Mayorga with staff has indicated in the past that there is a process for us to undertake to eventually transition receipt of those funds and that grant responsibility to ETA. At such time that would occur, that bylaw would revert back and the county would be responsible for our contribution amount in the same exact manner as all the other agencies. So I think that's a big item for the board to consider. And then also, given that the LGC has kind of parked its organizational structure under the umbrella of the county, something else that the county attorney's office has discussed, which was, again, sort of that conversation started for the item that we just took up and considered, was the need for a master agreement to be in place between the county and ETA. That master agreement delineates the fact that our employees are subject to all of the county's HR policies and procedure when it comes to leave, paid time off, everything that we have, ranging from sick leave and how they accrue it to what the progressive disciplinary plan looks like, all of that. And then also the fact that, like, for example, we're relying on human resources at the county to onboard the work that we're doing right now for the director and these two other positions. We have the admin assistant senior out. We're using them as a service, right? So there's a cost to that service that the county is bearing. And so we need to enumerate all of those available services in the agreement so that it's kind of clear how the county will support. The county right now is also providing space for staff. If at any point that we wanted to move out, it would be on us financially to try and find that space. The county is not asking for lease for financial reimbursement for the space that our staff is in, but they could. I guess we could. And I don't think that that's what's being proposed around the table, but we want to get that agreement in place saying this is how the county will support ETA's organizational structure within the umbrella of the county. That way we have that clearly delineated. We know what we're going to be using. And I think there needs to be some reference that agreement needs to be updated every so often. And it needs to be reported out. There needs to be some reference in the bylaws that states that we have that commitment with the county.
So then there won't be any action required on this item, Mr. Rubio, but we'll bring it back in January for further consideration.
Yes. Oh, so we're waiting for the agreement to come in. No, it won't be ready by then. No, but these are examples to me of items that I think it would be helpful for, like, any employment related contracting, amending this first round of bylaws and developing this master agreement. Those are three tasks that I can think of that I would want you, Mr. Estrada, as counsel right now, to stay on.
Okay.
To wrap up, just as we transition between the two law firms.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Happy to help. So is there action on this? No.
No.
Discussion. Yeah.
Okay, then we'll move on to item 5D. This is an update from Eric Clita regarding the public information activities that have been completed or underway. We have to start with that here.
So just to go over, since we the last board meeting, we've had a lot of action actually on the PR side. The biggest thing to me is that we finally launched the full website. So as you may know, before we previously only had a very basic landing page that basically had info on how to apply for paratransit and check back later for more updates or go to the county website, to the old website for routes and stuff like that. So now, if you haven't had a chance to look, I encourage you guys to look at the website now. It's El Paso transportationauthority.org. It's a whole website with homepage, a news section for any kind of updates to riders, a section where you can download routes, maps, view the maps online, and also download the maps if you'd like and print them out. Information on the board, information on who to contact should you need to, etc. Just all that important information that you would find in general on the website. So that's really exciting, and we actually Spectrum actually provided some training earlier this week to staff as to how to make updates to the website in case of emergency. They have a help desk to make updates, but it takes generally 24 hours to turn around updates. So just in case there's an emergency that something needs to be updated ASAP, they provided training to staff. And while they did that, they kind of reviewed what the monthly report would look like that they'll be sending every month so that we know what the traffic looks like to the website. And so she showed us a partial report of what we've already had since the website has launched. It's been launched about almost 2 weeks now. And we're already seeing decent traffic going to that website every day, especially after we did our little PR run last week, which I'll get to in a minute. We had a little spike there. So all that to say, we're glad that we're finally able to get that launch. It did take a little bit longer than we had anticipated, but that was mainly because we didn't want to launch with any glitches or anything that was incorrect. We wanted it to be in as much of its final state.
We were also enhancing some of the features.
Yeah, and getting the features right as far as being able to for paratransit riders to be able to at least start the application process online, whereas previously we had to all be done through email or in print or in person. So now they can at least get the process the ball rolling online. Obviously, because of HIPAA and other issues, it can't be fully virtual doing the application, but we can at least get them started. So this is the website you're looking at right now.
This is the website here, right?
Yes. And so and then moving on to PR messaging that we've been doing for the service reduction. We were waiting for one of the main components we were waiting for to move from phase 1 to phase 2 of that messaging was to have the website, because we didn't want to be telling people. We needed to have some place for people to go to get more information, basically. So once that was up, that's when we got to moving on to phase 2. So for example, this flyer represents phase 1, where it's just a very basic information saying this route is going away. Stay tuned for updates and contact Socorro City Council if you have any issues. So now during phase 2, which we've already begun, this is messaging that those 2 routes have been updated, that riders will have a chance to use those routes before the other route goes away, and continue to let Socorro riders know that the buses will not stop inside Socorro anymore. And also to let paratransit riders know that they do still qualify, even if they do live in Socorro, they still qualify for paratransit because they live close to the fixed route. So in this phase 2, what we're doing is we've created a second version of this flyer. Tomorrow, actually, we'll be going along the 2 new routes. Well, not new routes, but the 2 modified routes, and the Route 84, which is going away, which has a lot of overlap. But we'll be going along that route and dropping off the flyers at any kind of, tienditas, mom and pop stores, anywhere that'll let us drop off some flyers along the route. We're going to drop them off down there. Then we'll have enough left over to provide to ETA staff so that they can provide them to the bus drivers and have them on the buses. And we're also going to drop them off at some of the community centers and community centers in Socorro and along the route.
You mentioned the water districts.
Oh yes, and then so also as part of phase 2, part of the budget was to do mailers to people in El Paso County. I think you guys remember. However, we ran into an issue of the vendor who does the mailers not being able to differentiate between what's a business, what's what, and all the different zip codes that exist in the rural part of East El Paso County. So it was going to be way over budget, basically, to send out those mailers. So the workaround that I think someone from the board actually suggested, was to go through the water districts, which was a big help. I reached out to Horizon Mud, to Lower Valley Water District and Fabian's Water District, and all of them were very, very, very helpful and very open to letting us provide them with the flyers and putting them in their bills. And luckily, we got all this taken care of with enough time to get them in the December bills. So Horizon Mud bills have already been sent out for that information. I believe Havens has also already provided them with the flyers that they've gone out, I believe, or they will sometime soon, maybe this week or next week. And then the last one we were waiting for final approval from was Lower Valley Water District, which I received last week. And then I was just trying to figure out how many they would need because they have, I think he told me they have something like 30,000 more. It was a really big amount of bills that they sent out to the point where they don't send one whole bill out on a month. They have a daily mailer. They mail bills out daily, basically, because they have so many customers. So just taking into account how much time we have between now and the end of the month, I had to come up with an amount to provide to them. And that's being printed currently. So once that's printed, I will deliver to them so they can start putting those in their bills.
Do you still need turning out? Water district? Are they not affected?
No, that would be affected by Route 84.
Okay.
And really neither would Favens. Close, maybe? Well,
Close. Yeah, I think that was the one that I felt was like the closest one. And just to let as many people know as we can.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think-
and it was a small amount for payments too. The bills, it was only, I think it was like 3,000.
The big one is Lower Valley.
Yeah, the Lower Valley ones.
They're the big one. And so it might be worth kind of figuring out, I think maybe on that note, whatever they didn't mail to in December, in January, like, hey, your transit service has changed as opposed to will change. Messaging changed, so it has changed to if there's a way for them to tell you they didn't reach
That's the only thing I don't think they're going to have a way to do. Since they're doing daily, because I was even asking them, like, is there a way? Because I was trying to figure out a number of how many print out for them. Is there a way, do you know who's residential, who's not? No, do you know, various variables I was trying to throw at them and they didn't know. And even the 10,000 number is just a guesstimate. Then I think 10,000 that I printed out for them. And I just told them, well, even if you don't send out all 10,000 by the end of the month, I guess just continue setting them until you run out. Even though it will say is going away, but I think
Yeah.
What else is happening for phase 2? And then for also, so like I said, we were waiting to reach out to media so that we could have the website again. So we did that last week. Commissioner Leon provided us some time to come out and shoot an interview with them, and we invited media to come do it as well. And we had KFOX and one of the Spanish stations come and interview them, and then Barracuda did our interview and sent it out to the other media. And we had a good run in the press last week. We had all 3 English stations and Univision that ran stories, and something to say about that. Ran throughout the day on Friday. I believe I sent you guys. I sent links to the stories to staff and to Mr. Ronderos and to Commissioner Leon. I'm not sure if you guys forwarded them on to the rest of the board.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be in your highlights this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was there, and because of that, mainly because of the story that ran with KFOX, because they did the most in-depth story about it. And I actually gave a reporter a call because I felt like she wasn't. There was some stuff that I felt was a little inaccurate, not on purpose, but just because it is a complex kind of thing. If you're not familiar with it, so I just put that in her ear to watch out, because one of the things that, and this has happened all before, as we know, that Socorro tries to throw the blame back at the county, which they did in this story. She's the one reporter that actually reached out to Socorro for comment, and the comment was that it was the county who ended the agreement, which actually makes no sense.
There was no agreement.
Yeah,
they had an agreement in front of them and they voted no.
Yeah, their comment made no sense. So, but that provided us with the opportunity to do another round, which John Littles gave us the time today to interview him, and I'll be sending that out next week. Because that also gives us a second little push to let not only push back on Sapporo a little bit, but also just to keep letting people know like these routes are changing. It's a good excuse for the use to be able to run that store again, especially next week with the holidays and all that kind of stuff. So I'll be sending out that again next week. So we continue pushing with local media that these changes are effective very soon. Other items for phase 2 included updating the social media messaging. Phase 1 again was the same, similar to this on social media, where it's just letting people know the routes were going away and check back for more info later. So now the new social media graphics and captions have that message of the exact changes and where they can go on the website to get updates. We provided a toolkit with all the graphics and suggested captions, not only to ETA staff, but to everyone who attends these meetings, as well as the county, so that they could share it via their channels. Our social media team met with ETA staff because ETA has a Facebook page. We had previously been running all our ads through the county's Facebook accounts. However, due to changes that Meta has made to their policies, it was going to be better for us and for you guys to go ahead and run the phase 2 ads through ETA's own Facebook page. So that's been taken care of, and those ads are currently up and running through ETAs rather than the counties. And the reason that I say it's better for both us and for you guys is because as a newer entity, having the ads, the back end of all your ads management and stuff like that set up the right way now from the beginning is gonna benefit you guys in the future. But as you know, as ETA grows, as we all hope that it does. So, yeah, that's
You're saying the county's management is
not just the county; it's almost every client that we yeah.
That makes you feel better. Tell out. It's not you, it's
And it's also because of the changes that Facebook.
it's the suck. Yeah.
Long story short, previously it was okay for an entity or a business to give us access and run the ads. And now, for us to control the Facebook page for them. And now it has to be the actual company that owns the page and then gives us access. So it's just yeah. So I believe that's everything for phase 2 updates. And we'll continue to push all that out through the end of the year. Radio ads are also running through the end of the year. We'll get a report on that from the radio stations once that run ends on the 31st. And as far as social media ads as well, we provided ETA staff with the first report for the phase 1, which ran in November. And Barracuda will continue to provide a monthly social media ad spend report to ETA staff each day and then provides the that's pretty much all my
If I may add to the website, I know you noticed our route maps got updated and they're all the same now. So that's something that we're good at. We're very hard. I don't know if you could show them off for us, but
Yeah, I was showing them earlier.
so now they have you have a QR code, so everything is accessible and it's going to take you to this website. So we're going to build that traffic that way. Slowly. Yeah, there we go.
See the
So there,
there's a QR code.
the user have the option to print it or just view it on their phone. So something, a new feature there.
And then earlier when you were navigating, I noticed that you did a translation. There's a translation built into the website and there's like the Google Translate.
Yes, up here.
Yeah, do you know which one you did? Because when it loaded the Spanish page, it had the old board members.
Oh, I I just,
So you up there, you
I just went to, it originally showed, yeah, the week like this. And then I clicked on here. See if it didn't prompt me the first time for this.
yeah.
It's trying to translate it back to English.
Maybe reload it.
Okay.
Or just close out that tab and open it again. Because I noticed it still had Mike for Sanelli, Michelle for
On the Spanish side, I can double check that.
Horizon.
I'll double check.
But then it also says Junta Directiva, and it's not Junta Directiva, it's Mesa Directiva, right?
Oh, here it is in Spanish.
Can you go to the board? Oh, Google's like, wait a minute, this is not English. It wants to translate it. Okay. Yeah, so Junta Directiva, it's Mesa Directiva.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Michelle and Mike are.
I didn't do that on purpose.
No, it's good, but like it's even loading errors, like the seals aren't coming out on that page. And then I know the LGC bylaws, those are probably just in English, right? So I don't know that we don't need to have them in Spanish, but I can't imagine the time that would go into translating a document, the legalese into Spanish.
Yeah.
You're like, that sounds like a county attorney's project. I did have a question about the kind of related to this and this brand that we're putting out, right? So you see the logo on the placards, the website, obviously, the pamphlets that Ms. Mañales has provided us, the Barracuda's designs. But the board is still the LGC board, right? And so it's a question about, and we discussed this yesterday with Mr. Mañales when we were meeting at the county attorney's office. The legal organization that's created with the Secretary of State's office is the EPATS LGC, right? Are we able to file a DBA?
Yes.
To call ourselves the ETA Board of Directors as opposed to EPATS LGC Board of Directors?
To call yourselves the ETA Board of Directors?
Right.
Yes, you can.
Okay. Okay. And that's a pretty quick process upstairs in the clerk's office. So just maybe something to add to our agenda. I mean, I don't know that it needs an agenda item, but it probably should, right?
It should, yes.
Yeah.
It should be.
So we can add that to January to authorize staff to submit a DBA form with the county clerk for EPATS LGC to be ETA.
I think that would be very helpful in messaging for PR because it's a whole paragraph that we usually have to add that says ETA is this and it's run by this and it's like, it would just be a lot easier and easier for people to understand who they're doing when they're writing ETA.
Yeah.
And I think that was part of our recommendation when you stayed in the logos too.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a
Then we could get jackets with ETA. It's a cool logo. Oh, and you'll be happy to know that someone recently said ETA, like estimated time of arrival.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're the first person that's made that connection. So, we promised that we would let you all know. Yeah.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, we could on then to item 5E, and that's review status report from TTI. I do believe that David is on the call and with Michael as well.
Yeah. Hi, this is Michael Walk with Texas A&M Transportation Institute, or TTI. Good to talk with you all again. We had two minor updates. Wanted to make sure the board was aware. The first is the HOPE project, or Helping Obtain Prosperity for Everyone, which was the regional fair study project, was scheduled for completion at the end of this year. The principal investigator on that, one of my colleague, Roya, I guess somebody, I think from Sun Metro must have reached out to her and asked if she needed another month. We took them up on that offer with everything else that's coming due at the end of December. And so that final report should be coming for comment to EPATS, i.e. the county, as well as Sun Metro in January. And then that'll be the end of that particular study. Generally speaking, there's nothing super surprising, I don't think. That would be a blind side. Their recommendation is not going to be for implementing fare free, or something like that in the region. But there was general support from riders and stakeholders about the idea of some sort of interoperable, fair payment structure or policy. So that'll be one of the things that'll be wrestled with in this final deliverable. And the second is the task order 10, which actually Mr. Banales gave a brief update on during his remarks in the general public demand response service planning study. Just from a general timeline standpoint, the TTI team is making progress on that study. We have a transit need index analysis and maps that will be developed for the study area this month, and we're looking at the data from the van pool program, and also developing a questionnaire that's going to be going out probably in February. So that's the next major milestone for that particular project, because there is some public engagement in the project to help get a better understanding of community needs when it comes to demand response services, and so that I'll have more update, or the PIs will, principal investigators will, at the next meeting, so you can be aware of what's coming out. That's all that I had, and I'll take any questions.
Thank you,
Michael.
Okay, thank you.
Christmas.
Thank you. All right, then we'll move on. Then we've already touched on all our other agenda items. The last one is for adjournment.
So move.
The second?
Second. Have a first and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries, and the meeting will adjourn at 3:52, just on time for Andrea.
Just a reminder, it's Friday. You all should have received an